In this episode, I get to chat with my college friend Sulyn, who has been a fitness trainer for the last 6 years. She specializes in women's health and fitness and empowers them to tone up and shed fat while also repairing their metabolism. Not only is she changing women's lives, she does it all while traveling the world. She's currently a digital nomad in Europe, so it was super interesting for me to learn more about health and fitness culture in Europe, especially since I'm a firm believer that their food quality and standards are significantly higher than here in the US. Sulyn shares her hot takes on cardio, weight loss fads, and eating more food. She was such a joy to talk to, and it gave me some insight to how she coaches her clients with compassion, grace, and healthy motivation. Enjoy the episode. Welcome to Trivia Tangents, the podcast where we turn everyday passions into surprising trivia deep dives. I'm your host, Lena, and each week I quiz a friend on something they know way too much about, turning everyday passions into trivia gold. We all know that on trivia night, the bigger the team, the better you'll play. That's why I bring the team together here on Trivia Tangents. So get ready for some fun facts you'll definitely want for your next trivia night. Hi, Sulyn. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much for being here today. We are on different time zones. So I'm California, West Coast, Pacific time, and you're in Europe?
I'm in Hastings, England right now, so it's 5 p.m. for me. Yep,
Amazing.
I'm about to close out the day.
This is your last thing for the day. Awesome. Yep. Well, I appreciate you meeting with me on a Friday afternoon. I'm so excited to chat with you more about your professional health and fitness journey. So, Sulyn, do you mind sharing a little bit more about yourself so the listeners can get to know you a little bit better?
Yeah, so I'm Sulyn. I'm an online health and fitness coach. So basically, I work with clients all over the world, mainly based in the US, Canada, and Europe, which is convenient since I'm in Europe right now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm really excited to share my journey about how I started as an in-person trainer, transitioned to online, and just, how I've been making that work.
Yeah, I'm so excited to learn more about it, and especially hear your story in regards to COVID and where you were during COVID. I feel like that has, changed so many people's businesses, and it was right in the middle of your when you were taking off your career. So I'm excited to learn more about that. And I feel like everyone's story with COVID is so interesting. But yes, so today we are discussing personal training and health, and we're digging deeper into the cultural differences between the US and Europe, health and fitness wise. And of course, we had to sprinkle in a little bit of science into the episode and also debunk some fitness fads.
Absolutely. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I forget, what was your major in college?
So I was neuro, physio, and behavioral science major, so NPB, and I took the physio track. So mainly learning about exercise physiology, exercise science, how the human body works. I also took some random nutrition classes in there as well. So I very much knew I wanted to be in the health and fitness industry since all the way back then. Yeah.
Yes, that's awesome. I also took a health class at UC Davis, specifically about nutrition. And the one thing I remember from that was soluble and insoluble fibers. And that oatmeal is soluble. I don't remember.
Girl, I'm not even gonna lie, with fiber, they're so random. It's not all the fruits are one and all the vegetables are the other. It's kind of you just have to make sure you eat a variety of different fibers and you'll probably be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you wanted to ask me specifically what's soluble and non-soluble, I'd honestly have to look up a list right now.
Oh my God. Okay, well, that's not one of the trivia questions.
Good.
There is a little bit of a science trivia question that'll come up in section 2. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, my doctor always says to eat a plate, your dinner plate should have a rainbow of vegetables, all different colors, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I encourage all my clients to eat some sort of fruit or vegetable or fiber source at all of their meals. So
yes.
Yeah, kind of on par with what your doctor's saying. Yeah.
Amazing. So Sulyn, are you ready for section 1, trivia question 1?
Oh, the trivia questions first. Okay, yeah, I'm excited. Let's go.
Yes. Section 1, where it all began. Trivia question 1. Who is known as the Godfather of Fitness for bringing exercise and healthy living into mainstream American culture through his TV show in the 1950s?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Let me hear the multiple choice. I need that.
Yeah. A. Joe Weider. B. Jack LaLanne. C. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Or D. Vince Gironda.
Wow. Okay. This is crazy because I literally only recognize Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I
Yeah.
don't think it's him. Or I don't. Well, yeah, he had a TV show. He was like an actor, and he also was like a major bodybuilder.
Yep.
I guess I'm just gonna have to go with him because he's literally the only person I know.
Oh my gosh, you were tricked. That was the trick
No.
answer.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But so fair because obviously, we lived in California, so like
Yeah.
that's like the only name I know out of those four people. But the answer was Jack LaLanne, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I've never heard of that guy.
Same. And like I think it's fine. Like we're obviously not from that generation, but let me tell you a little bit more about him. And I do want to say all of these four people were like very influential in like mainstream American culture, bringing exercise and healthy living into that like culture. All of them were, but specifically Jack LaLanne had a TV show about fitness.
What was
So
it called? I'm curious.
it was literally a self-titled TV show. It was literally called The Jack LaLanne Show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow. I wonder when all these shows aired.
I know, right? Let me tell you more about him. So Jack LaLanne revolutionized how people thought about health. Like I said, his self-titled TV show, The Jack LaLanne Show, taught millions of Americans simple exercises they could do at home long before gyms or personal trainers were common. And this show ran for over 30 years. So 1950s to 1980s.
That's a bit before my time.
Yeah, literally same. I like to sprinkle in a little bit of history just to, learn more about where everything came from.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But yeah. So Jack also invented some fitness equipment. He promoted whole foods and was living proof of his philosophy, performing outrageous stunts well into his old age. So, for example, his like most famous stunt, I guess, was swimming handcuffed while towing boats.
Interesting.
Yeah. LaLanne showed that exercise wasn't just for athletes or bodybuilders, it was for everyone. So he kind of like made it more inclusive and showed like, hey, even if you're, older like me, you can still be super strong. And my mind is going towards this older woman. I don't remember her name right now. I should have looked it up, but it just came into my head. The super old gymnast who like competed in the Olympics or something, and she just like kept doing gymnastics throughout her life. I don't know, side tangent. But anyway, that's Jack LaLanne for you, a little background.
That's awesome. Okay. Yeah, I definitely have never heard of him.
That's totally fine. I didn't either. So let's talk more about you, Sulyn. How did you first discover your passion for fitness?
So my passion for fitness, I actually had a really rocky start. I actually used to hate exercising. So I was always an athlete growing up. Like I played soccer. I was on the like field hockey team. I always played a sport like every season at my school. I grew up very sporty. But I also grew up basically in Los Angeles where there was just
Mhm,
a lot of like weight loss, fad diet,
mhm,
needing to be super skinny, that type of culture. So as I started to like, hit puberty and everything and start to care a little bit more about what I looked like, about what boys thought of me, and just
mhm,
generally like tried to like cared a lot more about my appearance, right? I
mhm,
started to view exercise as basically just a tool for weight loss. So, I didn't care about the mental health benefits. I didn't care about being stronger. I stopped caring about being good at sports and everything. And I started to just funnel exercise through this weight loss lens, which really made me honestly hate it.
yeah.
So basically, yeah, I was on the swim team in high school that was extremely competitive, and we had 2.5-hour practices every single day, and or 6 days a week, basically. And it's
Wow.
so sad looking back at my mindset back then, but I literally was on that swim team because I wanted to stay skinny. And just looking
Wow.
back, yeah, it's such an unhealthy way to look at exercise and like your body, and it's kind of like diminishing to like I don't know, to just, obviously like it's just a diminishing way to, like, look at yourself. It's like, I just want to be as skinny as possible, but that's just how I viewed exercise at the time. Then when I ended up going to college and I chose going to UC Davis more for, like, the academics and everything, and I ended up leaving swim behind. So I wasn't on a swim team anymore. I didn't have, a coach to force me to show up to these extreme practices, to yell at me to go faster, to push myself every single day. And it took me a really long time to get into any sort of regular exercise. So every once in a while, I would go to the gym in my freshman year, and I would literally go for 2.5 hours because I thought you had to work out that long because that's all I had ever known. And I would go for 2.5 hours, be so sore and like tired afterwards that I just wouldn't want to go ever again. So I'd like go literally once a month, maybe.
Yeah.
And that was just kind of the cycle I was in for probably my entire freshman year, honestly. Then I just started struggling a lot with like energy, fatigue, being really unconfident in my body. I ended up gaining a lot of weight and kind of just struggling a lot with my relationship with food. And I
Mhm.
knew I like really wanted to do something about it. So I started getting more serious about the gym. I think this was like around the time when fitness influencers were becoming a thing. So I started getting a little bit inspired by them. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to really be serious about this gym thing. I started trying to go closer to like 4 to 5 times a week. And then I ended up
Mhm.
actually really falling in love with it. And that's what led me to wanting to like thinking about doing this for a living. I actually ended up like I would take all my friends with me. I got some of my friends like super buff at one point. It was like really funny. Like I took all my friends through a bulk at one point, and I just realized I really liked like teaching other people how to be strong and how to lift properly and yeah, like see exercise through like a different lens than just weight loss and aesthetics. So that was
Yeah.
like the turning point for me, probably like my sophomore year of college.
Yeah, awesome. And in that turning point, did you also have that sort of like click in your brain where you realize like, "Oh, this also helps my emotional state, not just my physical state."
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Yeah.
It honestly, like, exercising regularly is such a good stress reliever. It helps so
Yeah.
much with, like, your mental health, and honestly, like, if you think back to, like, any time you've ever completed a workout, I don't think anyone can ever say they felt, like, worse after they worked out or they, like, regretted doing that workout, right?
Yeah.
Usually when you're not feeling good, it's because you haven't gone outside that day or you haven't moved your body or you, like,
Mhm.
yeah, you're, like, depriving yourself of, like, what your body wants. So that's when I started realizing, like, "Oh my gosh, I feel so much better when I'm consistent at the gym. I feel so much better
Yeah.
when I just, like, move my body in some way."
Yeah.
And it started becoming more of, like, a lifestyle for me.
Yeah, totally. But at the same time, it's like consistency is key, but you can't push your body over its limits. Like you said, you were doing like 6 days a week, 2 hours each, and then you realized that wasn't sustainable and moved down to like 4 days a week. And how long was each session when you realized
Yeah.
that?
So I was doing the 6 days a week back when I was a swimmer in high school, and
Right.
also part of my journey was that I struggled with extreme fatigue, like, I would take naps in the middle of class, I would,
Wow.
yeah, like, literally my grades started to kind of suffer because of it, so it was, like, definitely to the point of, like, being way too extreme.
Hmm.
And then when I ended up actually being consistent with lifting in college, I would go basically 4 times a week. I've never been, like, the gym rat girl that's in the gym 6 times a week or 5 times a week. I've just never been that girl. I think it's because I like to take weekend trips a lot and I like to just
Yeah.
have my weekends free. So I've
Yeah.
always been like a 4-day-a-week girl. Literally, I was doing that split probably from like my junior year of college all the way until like probably a couple years ago. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I remember I did not go to the gym that I mean, probably around the same 4 days a week or maybe fewer. I don't really remember, but almost every time I went, I saw you. I'm pretty sure.
Really? Yeah.
And I'm
I would spend some time in there too, not necessarily focusing on my workout, but I would also just like hang out there. It kind of became like a
yeah,
social place for me. Yeah.
it was totally a social place. Oh my god, I miss that so much. Like I don't know your workout situation right now, I feel like you're traveling the world, but here in
Yeah.
San Francisco, there's just like no good gyms. They're all just
Really?
like gross unless you want to go to Equinox, which is so expensive
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
so out of the way and doesn't have parking. So,
That is
I
really sad. Oh,
I miss the like college gym, and I've
yeah.
tried to get myself to be able to go to the local university here, their gym, University of San Francisco, and literally they have like a neighborhood radius, and I was 1 block out.
Oh
So
my
they did
gosh.
so they didn't let me, but I really miss that sort of like social gym culture, like, "Hey," and like, "Oh my god, you're in my class."
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I loved it too. I literally would sometimes just, like, hang out there. Also, eventually, I, like, started training there, so I would work there
Yeah.
too, but I would
Yeah.
literally go, like, every day and just, like, talk to the people, hang out, do a couple reps or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a very, like, social time for me, yeah. But, yeah,
Totally.
that sucks that you don't have good gyms in San Francisco. Because honestly,
I
I feel like the gym environment makes such a big difference. Like, I took the UC Davis ARC for granted for sure when I was there.
Same, and oh my god, the students these days, like, they have it so much better than how we had it because the whole gym went through a whole
Yeah,
renovation, remember
and we
that?
were working out on the basketball court, yeah.
Right, that was crazy. Okay, what I was gonna ask you was throughout your time in college, like, I guess you were doing your major and it was very related to your career today, but was there a turning point when you decided like, "Hey, I wanna do this professionally," or did you go into that major, like, knowing, "I wanna do this professionally?"
Yeah, so I definitely did not know what I wanted to do when I went to college. So I actually started
Mhm,
as just a general biology degree.
mhm.
And then I think it was, yeah, in my sophomore or junior year when I actually got certified as a personal trainer, that's when I switched over to physiology because I was like,
Okay.
oh, this has way more to do with,
Mhm,
the human body. In biology, it's more like general, like you're learning about the environment, plants, all
mhm.
these other things. And I was like, no, I want to specifically learn about the human body, kinesiology, and all of that type of stuff. So that
Yeah,
is when I switched over, and that's when I decided, yeah, I definitely wanna be a personal trainer. At that point, I hadn't even considered online coaching or, like, anything past
yeah,
personal training, but at
yeah.
that point, I knew, like, "Okay, I really like doing this. I definitely wanna do this in some capacity in the future."
I love that so much. Okay, so you were doing in-person training 2018 to 2021. I'm curious, how was that transition moving from in-person training to online fitness and health coaching? And was that kind of due to, the global pandemic? Did COVID have any impact on your business?
It had a huge impact on my career, and honestly, it was for the better. I say this as, like, with, like, everyone's, like, situation in mind, I wanna be as sensitive as possible, but COVID
Mhm,
was actually a really good thing for me, because it basically gave me 2 different things. It gave me, like, space and time, like, for the first time in my life because it was kind of, like, at this perfect timing or I mean, kind of bad timing, but also perfect timing for
mhm,
everyone that graduated in our year. It was, like,
mhm,
right when we were graduating and, like,
mhm,
should have been, like, moving on to our careers, right? It
mhm.
just gave me a lot of time to think about, like, what I actually want to do with my life. So, yeah, COVID basically just gave me the time and the space to really sit back and think about what I wanted to do with my career because basically after we graduated, instead of just going straight into my career or getting a job right away, I had to kind of wait and I went back to live with my parents and everything.
Mhm.
And I basically just realized I didn't want to be working at like this big commercial gym for the rest of my life. I wanted to use my coaching methods that I knew worked that in my opinion were more empowering for women. A lot of the times at other gyms, if you work for them or like for these like bigger fitness businesses, you're
Mhm.
just basically like forced to use their methods. And a lot of them are
Mm.
like teaching really low calorie diets or just not really empowering women to like educate themselves and actually understand their body. It's more so using like, honestly, in my opinion, scare tactics. And I just knew I didn't want to be a part of that side of the fitness industry.
Yeah.
So COVID gave me time to think about that and realize what I really wanted, and basically, I decided I wanted to try doing my own business and also try online since most in-person gyms were closed down anyways.
Yeah.
And the other thing that COVID gave me was space away from my peers because one of the scariest parts of, like, starting my own business and starting to get clients online, honestly, was posting on social media. I just was
Yes.
so yeah, I was so afraid of, like, what people would say. I had
Yeah.
gotten some comments from other people like, "Oh, it's so cringe," like, if you put a hashtag in your post because, it shows that you're trying to gain followers or something. And I was just like holding back for so long because I kind of
Mhm.
wanted to start posting about fitness on my Instagram for a while. But yeah, COVID basically gave me space away from my peers. And I honestly at one point was just like, you know what? If people are gonna talk behind my back, let them. If people are gonna think this is cringe, let them because
Mhm.
I'm literally not gonna see them for like a year. Like I'm literally
Yeah.
in lockdown right now. So it just gave me time away from like the judgment of other people and it helped me make a really big leap in my career that honestly I don't know if I would have done it without COVID.
Wow. Oh my gosh, there's so much to unpack in there. Thank you so much for sharing. Props to you for not like buying into those like fad, not diets, but like low calorie like fitness plans and what you were seeing with those commercialized gyms. They obviously are a commercial business and they want to make money. So, it's in their best interest to like maybe not see their clients succeed. And I think you recognized that and you said to yourself, I don't want to be a part of that. I actually want to help people. And so props to you. That's amazing. That's like a huge thing to look for when, if I was looking for a personal trainer, that's what I would want to look for. So props
Yeah.
to you.
Well,
That's
thanks.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
always tell people, like, really I think with, like, commercial gyms and personal training packages like that are super generalized and just kind of
Hmm.
low calorie and I feel like not super empowering or focused on education. Really the goal there is to like get you a quick result so that you keep
Hmm.
coming back every
Right.
single year for the rest of your life and you always feel like something's wrong with you. You always feel like, "Oh, I just can't keep the weight off," or like, "Oh, why
Hmm.
do I like not look the way I want yet?" or why am I like always struggling in some way with my health and fitness? And it kind of just leads you to feeling broken.
Yep.
Literally with my clients, I tell them like, okay, yeah, like maybe from where you are to where you want to go, maybe it will take like a longer term period. It might take 6 months, it might take a
Hmm.
year, but I like never want to see you again after that because I want you to be confident in being able to maintain this for the rest of your life. Like, love you, but never want to see you again.
Oh my God, that is so funny. And that makes me think of my physical therapist. Shout out Lindsay. I don't know if you're listening, but basically, like, I have long story SI joint injury, lower back problems. And I've been seeing her for like 2, 3, 4 months now, but the injury has resolved. It's gone. Yay. It's amazing. I'm
That's
no longer in
amazing.
pain. But I was like, oh my God, I'm sad. I'm not going to see you next week.
No, that's amazing. That's really amazing for, like, a physical therapist, like, because of, like, the methods that they're sometimes restricted to due to insurance, like, sometimes they
Hmm.
can't give people those, like, long-lasting results,
Yeah.
so I'm, like, super happy for you. That's amazing.
Thanks, thanks. And then I wanna unpack the other thing you said about social media. I saw you posting on social media, and I was like, "Wow, this girl has so much, like, self-confidence," and you were saying, there was so much going behind all of that, and all of those feelings that you felt, like, a few years ago, like, "Oh, what if people are gonna talk about me? What if people are gonna, like, say I'm cringe or whatever?" I feel all that shit now. Like,
Really?
with my podcast, like, there's, like, some chatter in my brain about that, but at a certain point, I kinda got to where you were too, like, "Hey, if people are gonna talk about me, like, let them. All attention is good attention." Right?
Exactly, exactly, and you're doing something that you wanna do, you're inspired by it, you're excited to show up. Like, how many people can say that about their lives?
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah, and literally, again, props to you for figuring that out, like, so early in your career, and yes, COVID had something to do with it because you had that space to, like, reflect on yourself, but, like, I wish I, started this podcast back in COVID. Like, I actually do have some recordings on my phone of, like, a different, like, podcast idea. I just never did anything with it, but yeah, like, it's amazing that you were able to like it clicked in your brain, this is what I want to do and this is how I can achieve it, and let's utilize this like lockdown we have right now to connect with people virtually and kind of like capitalize off of that and like fuck it to what people say or think about me. Like, this is my business, this is what I want to do, and like that's just like amazing. That's the energy that we need as like people trying to build their business like online or by yourself. Like, yes, it's very inspirational. That's what I'm
Oh,
trying to
well,
say.
thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, literally anybody that wants to, like, start their own business, start posting content, or just do something that might be, like, a little bit out of the ordinary, like, if you wanna be convinced to do it, you just need to talk to me, have a conversation with me, because I
Yeah.
will, like, hype you up until you do it. I will, like,
Yeah.
follow up with you until you actually take the leap, because, yeah, I'm just so
Yeah.
excited to see people finally doing, like, the things that they would do if they didn't care what other people thought about them.
Yes. 100%. I love that. Section 2, energy for the body. Trivia question 2. Which compound provides energy for all physiological processes in the body? A, creatine, B, mitochondria, C, protein, or D, ATP?
Okay, wait, which compound?
Yes.
Okay, well, ATP is, like, energy. The mitochondria is, like, where the energy is produced. What were the other options?
Creatine and protein.
Okay, it's definitely not creatine. Protein is the building block of muscle and a lot of structures in your body. So, but ATP. Wait. What was the question again? I just want to make sure. I feel like I'm overthinking this.
Oh my God, I hope I didn't like frame the question badly. I think you know what the answer is, but I'll ask the
Okay.
question. Which compound provides energy for all physiological processes in the body? Creatine, mitochondria, protein, or ATP?
I'm gonna go with ATP. Like ATP is energy. Okay.
Yeah!
Yes, I did
Yay!
it.
Yay! And I love how you were like, yes, the mitochondria is where it happens. Like, I love that. You guys, here's proof. You guys, she majored in this. She learned about this stuff at UC
Yes,
Davis.
I know what I'm talking about. Yes.
Okay, so I think this is funny. I tried to trip you up a little bit. ATP. Oh, I'm not even going to try and say it. Wait, I should. ATP, adenosine triphosphate.
Adenosine triphosphate. If you want to say that again.
Adenosine. Nope, that's funny. Let's keep it in.
Okay.
So basically, I tried to trip you up a little bit because ATP synthesis happens inside the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell.
Yep.
And that part of biology literally always stuck with me. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. So anyway, I thought that was funny to include.
That sticks with everyone. I think even people that didn't study like anything to do with science or biology, like everyone knows that fact. Hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, I learned that in high school. My major in college was econ. So like this was from high school. Shout out.
Yeah. I feel like it's also just in a lot of memes too. It's just like a part of culture.
Yeah, literally. So anyway, ATP synthesis happens inside the mitochondria. For those who are listening who are not really like science focused like me, think of the ATP like your phone battery, and the mitochondria are the chargers, and then your food is the electricity source. Would you say that's kind of right track, Sulyn?
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to say it, yeah.
Okay, amazing. So let me explain this in kind of layman's terms more deeply so people can kind of get it, and then we'll get into discussion questions. So every muscle contraction, nerve impulse, and heartbeat depends on ATP. And so the body is constantly recycling ATP because we can only store a small amount at any given time. And we don't eat ATP directly. Instead, our food, so like carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, is broken down into smaller molecules, which the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, converts into ATP. So that's why people call mitochondria powerhouse of the cell. I just said that. It's basically where the energy conversion happens. In conclusion here, basically our food choices determine how much ATP we can make and how efficiently our body uses it. So when it comes to nutrition, it's not just about counting calories. And I want to dig into that with you, Sulyn. It's about giving your body the right raw materials to efficiently produce the ATP and sustain energy throughout the day. So that's my little spiel about ATP and how it relates to food.
Oh, I'm super excited about the it's not just calories in versus calories out conversation.
That's my next question. Let's do it. So talking about food, how do you teach your clients to have a healthy relationship with food instead of obsessing over calories?
Yeah. So I feel like what I'm going to say is going to sound controversial, but let me hear me out and explain myself. So basically what I do is I do have my clients track their food. The reason for this is because one, it creates a lot of awareness around what you're putting in your body, what you're reaching for. A lot of people will say literally once they start tracking their food, they realize half the time they're eating just because they just the bag of chips was there or the candy was on the table. So I just picked it up, right? So it just creates a little bit more awareness. Yeah. But the other reason that I have people track their food is because most of my clients need to eat more food. I can't tell you how many clients I've had come in. Again, I only work with women. So, right, so many of the women I've worked with come in eating, they've been trying to eat 1,500, 1,600 calories for years, right? Because maybe their doctor told them to, or it's the number they found on the calorie calculator and they've just been trying to hit that number forever. But then what that does basically over time is when you eat a low amount of calories, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to gain weight because eventually your metabolism is going to adapt to that. So, what ends up happening is these women come in with super low energy. They feel lethargic. They might even have like missing periods or just really bad PMS symptoms because their
Mm.
body's literally not getting the nutrients that it needs. They're not getting the macronutrients. So, like the
Mhm.
protein, enough fats, and enough carbs to like fuel their body and give them like the actual energy that they need, but also micronutrients to make sure that their metabolism is working efficiently. So, a lot of women just come in eating so little food. They have a bunch of deficiencies. And the reason I have them track is because we slowly increase their food over time. And I find that it helps so many women break through and just understand that low calories is just not the answer. And that really helps a lot of women understand, yeah, just have a way better relationship with food.
That's amazing. And that's the first thing I learned when I saw a dietitian when I gained the COVID 20 or COVID 30, honestly. I gained a lot of weight during COVID and, I realized I needed help. And part of that was to see a dietitian. And that was one of the first things she said. She was like, you need to eat more. Specifically, you need to eat more protein. That's why you're always hungry, is because you don't eat enough protein. So I
Hmm.
totally get that. And I also did that thing where I write down what I'm eating. And to make it easier, she suggested to me take a picture of it and just make a food
Yeah.
album in your phone. It's way easier that way. Um, yeah. And I remember I was afraid of certain foods like bread and pasta and basically just carbs. So I was wondering, do you have clients who also fear certain foods? And how do you help them reframe that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think just because of my history with exercise and, like I said, the fad diet culture growing up that way, I think I do speak a lot to the type of woman who has tried a lot of diets, who is really afraid of carbs, and who is, just has a lot of like fear
Mhm.
around food in general. So I've definitely worked with a lot
Mhm.
of women who are specifically scared of carbs or even just like, yeah, like chips, candy, things that they just consider like
Yeah.
bad foods. Like they have like a moral tying to what foods they're eating. And I would say again, like the number one thing that I like to teach is just the 80-20 rule. It's so simple, but I feel like because
Mm.
it's so simple, people ignore it. But basically, it's just
Mhm.
80% of your foods really should be like whole food sources, like lean proteins, things you can find on a farm,
Yeah.
fruits, vegetables, grains, stuff like that. But then the 20% really can be whatever you want. And I also like to mention to clients that the 20% isn't like an optional thing. It is mandatory because the whole point of
Oh,
that is to prevent you from building up cravings in the first place. Like, that's what so
right.
many people end up doing when they start their fitness journey or want to lose weight or start feeling like they need to get serious about their health is they go all in 100% and they think that they have to eat 100% clean or 100% perfect all the
Mhm.
time. And they're basically just becoming a ticking time bomb until they
Mhm.
binge or until their friend invites them out for a dinner and they just order whatever's on the menu or they eat the entire appetizer of chips and salsa because they just didn't have the willpower to like continue eating 100% clean all the time. So I really like to emphasize
Literally,
to my
yeah.
clients the importance of that 20%. It's literally to help you
Mhm.
not have cravings build up in the first place so that you're not in that situation where you maybe end up really overeating or overindulging or even binging and then just
Yeah.
feeling even more defeated.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. So there's two things I want to say to that. In college and like late high school, I operated on that like 100% go all in, trying to eat healthy, and then allowing myself a cheat day. And on that cheat day, you just kind of, it's like the purge, you go out of control. So I love that you teach the 80-20 rule because it's just more sustainable that way. And I love that you brought up the 80-20 rule because that's something my family operates in terms of like life, not
Yeah.
specifically food, but in terms of experiences. It's so funny. Both my mom and my grandma, shout out my mom and my grandma, they both operate by this, like in experiences. Oh, if 80% of what happened is good, then like that's great. Like you win, basically. And
Yeah.
you can expect 20% to go badly. Like nothing's 100%. That would be unrealistic. So I love how that
Exactly. Yeah.
applies to food too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's really like it's not optional, I like to say, because it's really just like
Yeah.
everything in life, like you can't be perfect in all aspects of your life all the time. So, just giving yourself
Yeah.
that grace and just knowing that you're not a robot, you're a human and honoring that is like
Hmm.
so helpful.
Yes. I love that. We're all human here. We're all learning as we go. We all make mistakes, and give yourself that grace. You need to respect your body. And I always tell myself this, like, this is your only body that you're ever going to have. And I joke, I'm like, my body is a temple. But yeah,
No, but, like, literally it is. It is your own
literally.
only chance at life, your only body, and
Yeah.
so, like, take care of it, yeah.
Yeah. So I want to dig deeper into the cultural differences here. So I know you live majority of the time in Germany, but you're currently in the UK, right?
Yes, I'm in England right now, basically
Okay.
because as a tourist, I'm only allowed to live in Germany for 90 days, and I spent up all my 90 days, so I had to get
Oh,
out of the country
wow.
for 90 days before I'm allowed to go
Yeah.
back.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, what a process. Wow.
Yeah.
And most of your clients are online anyway, and so you see people from different countries. I think you said Canada, UK, Germany, and US, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I've had
Yeah.
some clients from Spain,
Okay.
but yeah, I think because I moved to Germany and then, the Instagram algorithm does its thing, like, I
Yeah.
attracted some German clients at that time, yeah.
For sure, for sure. So I'm curious to know, like, do you notice any cultural differences between how Americans and Europeans approach food and eating habits?
Yes. So there's definitely, like, positives and negatives to both, and honestly, they're just really different. So
Mhm.
what I've noticed is, at least specifically the woman that I work with from the US, I
Mhm.
think that a lot of the women in the US have been really influenced by, like, fad diet culture. So
Yes.
I'm noticing that a lot of people that I work with from the US, which is the majority of my clients, they have
Mhm.
these, like, really extreme beliefs about food. Like, I have to be 100% clean, or I have to cut out carbs, or I have to eat, 1,200 calories. And they
Mhm.
have, like, all of these, like, set beliefs that are really extreme around food. And so with a lot of my US clients, it's a lot about unlearning, and it's
Mm.
about healing their relationship with food, unlearning, unlearning being afraid of carbs. And it's just about, like, literally, like, reprogramming them so that they start to make healthy decisions, and they start to feel more empowered by food and more empowered by exercise, rather than just seeing food and exercise as, like, a way to lose weight, and just seeing it in a very extreme lens. And
Yeah.
then with my European clients, I've just noticed that a lot of them don't really, it's not that they have, like, all of these, like, false beliefs around food. It's just that they aren't as, like, they're not as into it in the first place. Like, it's not really as big of a part of their pop culture. A lot of them have, like,
Yeah.
never tried a diet before. A lot of them, like, the only thing they've really tried is, like, maybe just trying to portion control a little bit more. So
Right.
with my European clients, it's less about, like, re-educating and more about just, like, educating in the first place. Not
Yeah.
to say that they don't, like, know stuff about nutrition, but they're just not thinking about it nearly as much as a lot of my clients from the US, whereas, like, they've been thinking about trying to lose weight since they were a little girl or since they were a teenager. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's so sad, and I'm probably count as one of those people,
Me
especially
too.
since
Yeah.
yeah, like it was part of our culture. And also I do want to talk about how the difference between the quality of food in Europe versus America. And I know I didn't put this in
Mm.
the outline, but I can't believe I didn't put this in the outline because this is such a big topic for me. I spent 2 weeks in Italy recently, and oh my God, I could eat whatever the fuck I wanted. I could eat cheese, I could eat bread and pasta every single day. I think I lost weight, honestly. Yes, I was walking a lot, but like, I think the quality of food in the EU and like quality control is so much better. And so maybe that's why Europeans aren't as so like concerned about their intake because they've never had to
Yeah.
be. Their food is nutritional. It's supposed to be good for you. Like that's what they're raised believing, and that's the truth in Europe. Whereas in America, I have a lot of thoughts about America, but
Same.
yeah, basically, like, I believe that the insurance companies and the food companies have a little, what's the word? Have a
They
little
have some deal going, yeah.
yeah, some deal going, coercion, colluding, whatever the word is. I feel like they're working together. The food is making us sick so that we can go to the doctor and then, the insurance money. The insurance companies make money. So,
Yeah. I
yeah.
completely agree that that's how it works in the US. Like whether they're having some deal together and they're doing it on purpose or whether it's just like the way that it ended up working out, that definitely is
Yeah.
what is happening. So I totally agree with you there.
Yeah.
And yeah, in Europe, it's not just about like the food quality because definitely the food quality is definitely better here, right? Like processed food here just has way less ingredients. There's literally
Mhm.
some things that are in the food in the US that are illegal here. So just like the same brand will sell the same product to the US market and to the
Mhm.
European market, but it will
Yeah.
have to change some of the ingredients because Europe is way pickier about what's allowed in their food. But it's
Yes.
also just like in general, the lifestyle. In Europe, it's so much more common to like not own a car and to just walk everywhere or use public
Right.
transportation. People get like 7 to 10K steps like super easily throughout the day. Whereas like
Mhm.
in the US, there's like New York and maybe SF, right? You have pretty good public transportation there. But there's really, like, not these, like, amazing cities, like, it's not normal to be able to,
Yeah.
like, live without a car and to be able to just, like, walk everywhere.
Yeah.
We have definitely have, like, a car culture in the US. So,
Yeah.
it's also just about, like, the lifestyle, right?
For sure.
Also, like, work-life balance in the US, I feel like it's just getting like, in a lot of ways, it's getting better, but I also just feel like it's sometimes, like, getting worse, whereas, like, the people in the US are typically working longer hours, they're more
Mhm.
dedicated to growing their career quickly, making more money, like, from an
Mhm.
earlier age, and I just
Mhm.
feel like there's a little bit more balance in Europe when it comes to that, where people are, like they log off and then they, like, go on a hike, or they log off
Mhm.
and they, like, enjoy their weekend, and
Dude, yeah.
people just tend to, like, approach life a little bit more balanced, from what I've seen in Europe,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's how I live. That's the rule I live by. I work so that I can live my life the way I want. And also, like, PSA to all the Americans out there who are doing that, like, hustle culture or the rat race or whatever. Like, you're not going to be able to enjoy the money you're making if you're dead. Like,
Yes! Literally,
literally.
yes.
So take care of your body. Make sure you have that work-life balance. I think that's so important.
Yeah, that's actually a huge thing I talk to my clients about is like stress because stress has a huge
Yeah.
takes a huge or because stress plays a huge role in your
Yeah.
metabolism and like how healthy you are. I talk to my clients all the time about their career and setting boundaries with their work and not, checking their email at 8 p.m. right before they go to bed or on a Sunday morning when they're supposed
Mhm.
to be like relaxing, taking the day for themselves. Like setting work-life boundaries and honestly even like making career pivots. Like a lot of my clients have like completely changed
Mhm.
careers or jumped from different companies to different companies because they've realized like the work-life balance is just not possible at the job that they're at. And
Mhm.
yeah, I really advocate
Yeah.
for my clients to like set those boundaries and like advocate for like a better balanced life.
Yeah, I think that's so important. You should definitely, I don't know if you already do this, but you should definitely, like, I would be drawn in by a personal trainer who's like, "I live the European lifestyle, like, learn from me," basically.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
let's pivot more towards, like, back to the food part. So, you mentioned that there are some foods that are illegal in the EU, and I'm pretty sure, isn't it wheat thins and sun chips?
I'm not sure. It's not like the actual food is illegal, it's just that the ingredients that are in it, some of them aren't allowed.
Okay.
So the company will make the same cracker, like wheat thins or whatever it is, with just less
Yeah,
ingredients, and they'll sell that to the European
yeah.
market, but because it's more expensive, they'd obviously rather add all the additives, so they sell that one to the US
Mhm.
market. Yeah,
Oh my god. Literally so fucked up. So,
it is.
I'm curious to know, what is your ultimate comfort food when you just wanna relax and not think about, like, the 80%, I guess? What do you like to eat in that 20%?
Yeah, so, okay, recently or not recently, okay, for, like, years now, my favorite food has been Szechuan food, which is an extremely oily Chinese dish. It is, like
Yes.
and it is in no way, like, fitting into macros or anything like that, but it's so good.
Yeah.
Basically, it's this, like, numbing spice, and I didn't discover it until a couple years ago. So, basically, once I discovered it, it, like, instantly became my favorite food, yeah. I'm adopted, so, like, I grew up eating just, like, American food and stuff.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Szechuan is just, like, amazing. I love, like, byung noodles,
Yeah.
Szechuan chili oil on dumplings. Yeah, that's, like, definitely my
Mm.
favorite food. Yeah.
Oh my god. That sounds really good. You said numbing? Did you say
Mhm.
numbing?
Yeah, so it's,
I
like, not spicy, it's, like, it makes your mouth tingle, and it's a cool sensation.
Do you remember at the sushi restaurant in Davis, they had a cocktail with a lychee fruit with, like, a little tiny it was a lychee-based cocktail, and it also had that fruit that numbs your tongue. Do you remember
Oh,
that?
I don't wait, you said it was at the student center
No,
or
no, no,
student
not the
restaurant?
student center. It was, like, near In-N-Out.
I literally have no idea what you're talking about, oh my gosh.
What? I have a video of me eating it. Mikuni's.
Okay, I don't think I ever got a cocktail from Mikuni's. I went there, like, a few times and just would eat sushi.
Okay, fair. It was, like, the best sushi place in Davis.
Yeah,
I think I went for a friend's birthday, and so we were like,
yeah.
"Let's get cocktails." And
Nice.
we, like, probably just turned 21 or something. So, I wonder if that's similar, the Szechuan, to also that tiny fruit. Let me look it up really quickly. I can always cut this out, but I'm curious, what is that
Yeah.
fruit that makes your mouth tingle? Oh, I found it! It's Szechuan.
It
So,
is, okay.
yes. Okay. So I looked up, what is the fruit that makes your mouth tingle? It's a tiny fruit used in cocktails. That was my search. The AI overview says the fruit you're thinking of is most likely a buzz button or a Szechuan button, a small edible
Yes.
flower from the Acmella oleracea plant that causes a unique tingling, buzzing, or numbing sensation in the mouth due to its active compound, spilanthol. While not technically a fruit, it functions like one as a tiny flavorful garnish or ingredient in cocktails, adding a distinctive cooling and tingly effect.
Yes, yeah, that's Szechuan, and I
That's
love that on, like, noodles, dumplings, everything.
no, I had no idea it could be eaten or cooked in like a savory
Yeah,
capacity. That's so
yeah.
fucking cool. I need to try that. Wow.
That's so funny because I never thought of it being a sweet thing at all or,
That's
like, a
so
drink.
funny. Oh my god. Okay, for the video, I will input the video I have of me eating this little Szechuan button from my cocktail in Instagram because it's hilarious.
Okay, perfect.
Section 3, losing the weight. Trivia question 3. How many calories are in 1 pound of body fat? A, 2,500, B, 3,000, C, 3,500, or D, 4,000?
C, 3,500.
Yes, she's
Yay!
correct.
I'm so glad I knew that before the multiple choice.
Yeah, I should have just let you say the answer before I did the multiple choice, but you were on it. I love that. So, just a mini deep dive before we get into the conversation here. The 3,500 calorie rule has been around for decades, apparently, but weight loss obviously isn't always as simple as burning exactly that number, as we've learned throughout this conversation. Factors like metabolism, hormones, sleep, stress all play a huge role. Still, this number 3,500 gives people a baseline for understanding the energy stored in fat and why small, consistent lifestyle changes do, in fact, add up over time. So, modern trainers, from what I see on the internet, often focus less on calorie math and more on sustainable habits, as we've discussed here today. So, Sulyn, I'm curious, what is the biggest myth about losing body fat that you wish people would stop believing?
So, I think the biggest myth about losing body fat might be just that if the scale goes down, like, you're making progress and you're losing body fat, because when the scale goes down, you could be losing water weight, you could literally be losing, like, muscle mass, which is, like, hard earned, right? Muscle takes a long time to build, and it also regulates your metabolism, it helps upregulate it.
Mhm.
You could also literally be losing, like, bone density, so, like,
Mm.
obviously tissue that you don't wanna be losing. That's what basically the scale is not that valuable when it comes to losing weight. And so just the biggest, I guess, like, mistake that I see so many people making is saying that they want to lose like 10 or 15 pounds and then just going based on the scale. Literally with, like, I would say honestly a good like 50% maybe of my clients, like, they come in wanting to lose maybe 15 to 20 pounds. And then by the end of the program, they'll maybe lose like just 5 pounds, but they'll look completely different because we focused on maintaining their muscle, even building muscle, and maybe they just lost like a little bit of body fat.
Yeah.
But really at the end of the day, like the scale is just so like not helpful.
Yeah.
I find with like a lot of women, it's just usually misleading when it comes to getting the results that they want, like actually feeling good, upregulating their metabolism, being able to build lean muscle, and like even like yeah, like aesthetically, it's just not that helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah. That totally makes sense, and that I feel a little guilty because I do have a scale, and I have one of those like smart scales, I guess, where it has an app in my phone and it shows me like a graph over time of my weight basically. And for me, like it did help me lose weight when
Yeah,
I lost all that like COVID 30. So like I'm back to where I am normally, but like I weigh myself every morning. Like
really, still.
religiously, yes, because there's a certain number that I'm like if I get over that, I know I'm like falling off the tracks. But like maybe I'm envisioning that wrong or thinking about it wrong, but like I think it's just a habit I do. I just weigh myself every single day. Um and yeah, it's something I can't stop doing. So maybe I really need to like rethink that.
That's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say yeah. Okay, so I'll backtrack a little bit on what I said. The scale is not it's not completely useless, right? It's
Yeah.
just only one small value that we can use to track your progress that really doesn't show the big picture. So, like for example, some of my clients do want to lose 30 pounds and they do
Mhm.
have 30 pounds of excess body fat to lose, and we
Mhm.
help them do that, right? And like
Yeah.
we can look at the scale for like confirmation that they're going in the right direction there.
Yeah.
What I do find though is that just a lot of people will get discouraged early on because
Yeah.
we go through the program, we focus on building a strong metabolism at the start to help you with long-term fat loss. And so
Yeah.
when we're building your metabolism, we're building muscle. And so
Yeah.
people will see the scale either go up a pound and
Yeah.
freak out, or they'll see the scale not go down as fast as they thought it would because their friends over there cutting out carbs, losing a bunch of water weight, and they're like, why am I not losing 20 pounds in a
Yeah.
month like my friend? And so it can just kind of get people in their heads and can get them to quit earlier on, is what I found. But
Yes.
yeah, I would say like that number, whatever number that is in your head that you're like scared of going over, I think there could be a little bit of work done in like that mindset, you know?
Yeah.
Because for example, this was last year in 2024. I ended up
Mhm.
losing 8 pounds and it was all because I lost muscle. So I
Mm.
totally side tangent, but I went through this like pain management journey last year
Mhm.
where I was like dealing with like a lot of neck pain. I wasn't able to train consistently like I wanted to.
Mhm.
And literally like all the weight I lost was just muscle. And so,
Yeah.
if I had been, just using the scale to track my progress, like I guess that would have been good because it would have shown, yay, I've lost weight. But it was just
Yeah.
muscle, like, literally just I got weaker, my metabolism slowed down, I didn't feel as good on a daily basis because I couldn't exercise the way I wanted to, so
Mhm.
that's just, like, an example that I see quite often of people, like, assuming the scale going down is good when it could actually be kind of dangerous sometimes, right? Like, losing muscle
Yeah.
is, like, really bad.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'll definitely keep that in mind, and, that's really good to know moving forward. One thing I did notice, like, in my journey is that the scale would go up, and then a big down, and then up,
Interesting.
and then a big down, like the stock market. So,
Yeah.
and then one final thought on that is, like, I saw the most difference in my face.
Mhm.
So, that's, like, I don't know where I saw the most difference, but anyway,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. I love like using progress photos as a way to
yeah.
track progress and like how you just feel when you look in the mirror in the morning,
Mhm.
right? Like I just hate to see someone wake up, feel like they look really good, like, oh, I feel like I'm making progress.
Mhm.
Let me weigh myself. And then because the scale went up 2 pounds, they now feel like they're going the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So I really am like a big proponent for like, let's just see like, are you progressing in the gym? Do you feel stronger? Do you have more energy throughout the day?
Yeah.
And yeah, are you starting to look better in your photos, right? Like
Yeah.
a lot of people, if like you really think about it, they care about what they look like in
Yeah.
photos and what they look like in their clothes, and they want to like present themselves in a certain way, but the number on the scale isn't going to like necessarily show that. People can look drastically different at the same weight just because one of them has way more muscle than the other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm so guilty of that. Like, a huge reason I work out is just so I can fit in my clothes. So maybe I need some help here. Um, but moving on to your clients. So what I'm getting is that, you kind of emphasize like a little bit of everything for all of your clients, and like a big thing you focus on is like gaining muscle mass, right?
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think, like, one of the b oh, yeah, this is actually a huge misconception that gaining muscle will make you look bulky as a woman.
Mm,
Like, girl, if gaining weight or if gaining muscle and lifting weights made you look bulky, I would have been bulky by now because I've been lifting weights consistently since 2018.
mhm.
And again, like I said, like I specifically like want to build muscle. Like that is like
Yeah,
a goal of mine. I'd say like more than like most women, like a lot of women are like, they'll gain some muscle and they're not like that into it. Like I purposely like want to have a lot of muscle. I'm training like really consistently and I'm definitely not, I would say most people don't consider me bulky. So
no,
muscle mass it's really slow to put on, honestly. Like you're not
yeah,
just gonna like get bulky overnight and like gain a bunch of muscle and look like the Hulk. And also you can just stop at any point if you start
right,
feeling bulky.
right.
A lot of the reason I think that people feel bulky when they start strength training for the first time is that they end up just like they exercise more, so they start having this like higher appetite, and maybe they're not paying as much attention to like the type of food they're eating, so
Mhm,
they'll start to gain a little bit of excess body fat. And so
mhm.
that's kind of like a common cycle I see people get into if they're not focusing on both the nutrition and the exercise. Is they get into this mindset of like, oh, I'm exercising now, so I can kind of just eat whatever, and then they gain a little bit of body fat, feel like it's the strength training that's the problem, and then stop that. So
Yes.
yeah.
That totally makes sense. And the one thing I learned about having more muscle, and now that I live with my boyfriend and I see how much he eats, and obviously he has more muscle than me, when you have more muscle, you burn more calories. Is that right?
hmm
Okay.
Yeah, when you have more muscle, you burn more calories, and also strength training itself is one of the best ways to burn calories.
Yeah.
So I think, oh, that's another really good misconception we can talk about. But a lot of people think that cardio, I think because cardio, it kind of sucks, right? Like
It
you're like this sucks.
sucks.
Like it must be burning a lot of calories, right? It's really hard. You're like breathing super heavy. You're sweating the
Mhm.
whole time. Whereas with strength training, you do 10 reps and you
Mhm.
should be pushing yourself in those 10 reps, but you do 10 reps and then you rest for like a minute and a half. And
Mhm.
that just feels like less intense to a lot of people. So they think that it's not as effective for burning calories. But basically, there's this thing called EPOC. So excess post exercise oxygen consumption. Basically, yeah, strength training stimulates EPOC, which is basically that you will burn like, yeah, you're going to burn calories while you're working out, but you're also going to be burning calories for about 72 hours after your strength training session, because your body is trying to recover, rebuild
Wow.
muscle. Building muscle and strength training takes a lot for your body to recover from.
Yeah.
Whereas cardio, humans are endurance animals. Like we're actually really good at recovering from cardio. So we will
Yeah.
recover from cardio within 20 minutes of a cardio session.
Wow.
So your body
Okay.
stops burning that higher amount of calories pretty much right after you stop
Yeah.
running.
Okay. Wow. I'm learning so much. I love this.
Yay, okay, yay. I love that little fact then.
All right, I would love to know more on like single solution weight loss fads basically. Like specifically, I know Kourtney Kardashian has one called Let Me Burn, and it's okay if you don't know that one specifically, but what are your thoughts overall on like single solution weight loss fads like diet pills or detox products like Let Me Burn?
Yeah. So just like blanket statement, if it was that easy, everyone would just take it and then no
Yep.
one would struggle with losing weight. So that it would just like not be a conversation anymore if it was that easy.
Yep.
But also, yeah, so I actually had to look up the Let Me Burn thing because I had never heard of it before, but it
Yeah.
seems like it's a supplement that like claims to boost your metabolism, right? And like basically
Claims.
solve all your problem, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's the thing with supplements is they're really just like supplements to an already like pretty nutritious and healthy diet.
Mhm.
And yeah, like you could be eating like even with like nutrition, right? You could technically be eating like all clean foods, like super super healthy, but still be in a calorie surplus and then
Mhm.
still be not seeing fat loss or still be gaining weight, right? So
Yeah.
I really just feel like these fad diets and like these single solution things are kind of just preying on people that are really desperate.
Yep.
They just want to give them an easy answer, an easy solution. And yeah, like it really just comes down to like people need to Like, honestly, if people just spent like 3 to 6 months really focusing in on educating themselves about nutrition, which I know sounds annoying and lame, but like it can just empower you for the rest of your life. This is something that
Yeah.
like you could fix it in 6 months if you really just focused on it. Whereas if you're constantly jumping from like single solution to Weight Watchers to like next supplement, you're not only not going to ever get the results, but you're also just always going to feel disempowered in your own body and never really feel like you know what's going on.
Right, totally. And then if something does work, you won't know exactly like which solution it's tied to because you've tried so many different things. There's no like one single variable that you can tie it to.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And so, yeah, I think a really common thing I see is that people will like lose weight one time and then they'll feel like, oh my God, like that worked that one time, but then they'll gain the weight back. So then they'll
Yeah.
do it again because it worked. And it's just kind of like keeping people stuck in this cycle of like, oh, like that worked. So I should just keep trying that over and over. But really,
Yeah.
if like something only worked for a short period of time, like did it really work? And like,
Yeah.
I feel like good is always like the enemy of great, right? Like people feel like it was good enough that they could lose the weight one time. So they're like, I'll just stick with that. It's comfortable. I know it works. But like it could be great. You could feel like empowered and amazing and like never have to worry about that or be stressed out by that again.
Mhm. Yeah. Wow. I love that. Good is the enemy of great. I'm going to use that from now on.
Good, yeah. Or great.
Good, great. So let's end the convo on a positive note here. Can you explain more what the role of mindset and self-compassion plays on someone's fitness journey?
Absolutely, yeah. Self-compassion is so important for your fitness journey, for any self-development journey, really. If you want to like change something about yourself, you first have to accept that you need help or that you are struggling in some
Mhm.
way or that you're not doing something right. You first have to like own that like something's not working, right? And
Yeah.
you have to take responsibility for that. And that can be extremely hard if you don't have self-compassion, right? Because then you just go straight to self-judgment. Who wants to feel like they're a failure? Who wants to feel like they like don't know what they're doing or that they don't know enough about this topic that they're really struggling with, right? Like who
Yeah.
wants to like face that if it's just immediately met with like self-criticism and like I'm a failure, I'm not good enough. So it's really important to like monitor like your mindset and the way that you just speak to yourself, right? Like
Mhm.
it's okay to need help, it's okay to reach out for help, it's okay
Mhm.
to not know what you're doing, and it's just really important to be like self-compassionate about that, right? Same thing with like my clients. If they have a day where they just go like crazy and they're like, oh my God, I didn't track, I didn't do my workouts this week, it was just so crazy this week. That's fine. Like self-compassion. Like let's just like what can we learn from this situation? It was a good
Mhm.
learning lesson. And how can we just like move forward and maybe use that as like knowledge for the future? That's like really all it is. And I just feel like so many people, unfortunately, whether it's like the way they were raised, like literally it could go all the way back to that, or maybe just like a bad experience with like maybe with just like being afraid to be wrong sometimes, right?
Mhm.
So many people have this like just really like self-critical voice in their head that
Mhm.
is just holding them back more than anything.
Yeah. What I remind myself a lot is I am not my thoughts. Even if I
Hmm.
have negative thoughts, those do not define me. And I love what you said about self-compassion. Like you have to love yourself, you know? If you did something really hard that day, like give yourself a round of applause. Like, you did something. That's a win. Let's celebrate. And if you forget something, I love that you said it's a learning lesson. Let's see what we can learn from this and, move forward. I think that's really great and really good for sustainability and also just like a healthy relationship with yourself and also your coach.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that it's phasing out, but like those super hardcore coaches that like yell at you and make you feel bad, I hope that's phased out completely at this
Dude,
point.
I've never experienced that except for like in gymnastics, basically, but not in,
Really?
yeah, 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 not in like
Yeah.
real life. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's how my swim coach used to be. Like
Oh
he
my
would
God.
like be super mad if we like missed a practice. Like it was just a lot of like angriness. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Well, this has been an amazing conversation. Let's wrap up here. So, was there anything that stood out to you during this chat, or did you learn anything new? I know I learned a lot.
Yeah, I think I learned I don't know, I think honestly you sharing a little bit about like some of your limiting beliefs around fitness and
Hmm.
health, it made me realize that yeah, it just reminded me that like Yeah, a lot of people struggle with their like relationship with health and fitness.
Mhm.
And even if it doesn't like show, right? Like even if they're not like overweight, or even if they're
Mhm.
not like specifically like struggling with like a specific thing on their health and fitness journey, it just made me remember like how many people like can really benefit from learning like just really working on their mindset towards their health and fitness journey. So that
Yeah.
was like interesting to hear you open up a little bit. But
Yeah.
also you bringing up like the compounds and ATP and mitochondria, honestly, I was like, whoa, I like never talk about that with my clients, because like I don't know, that's just not like that microscopic detail doesn't really
Yeah.
like, it's not that important when I'm like,
Yeah.
talking big picture with my clients. So it was like kind of brought me back to my physiology days. I was like, whoa, I haven't like talked about any of those like very specific things in a very long time. So
Yeah.
it was exciting that I remembered it. First of all, I was like, oh good, I actually know this stuff. And yeah, it was just kind of cool to like talk about that again.
Yeah, awesome. I'm sure UC Davis is very proud that you have retained that information.
Yes, yes.
Well, I've had so much fun having you on the podcast today, Sulyn. If you were to guest again, what would you want to be quizzed on?
If I was a guest again, I would want to be quizzed on something to do with traveling the world, like
Yeah.
European Union, like digital nomading laws or something like that.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I definitely through this last what, like 6 months have learned a lot about, yeah, visas and
Oh my God.
traveling and what's allowed and remote work and all that type of stuff. So that
Dude,
would be kind
yeah.
of cool.
There's so much to talk about there. My dad is a digital nomad, so I know a little bit about it. I would love to dig in deeper with that.
Oh,
Of
wait, he is.
Yeah,
Where
he
is he
is.
living right now?
Currently, he's back in California with my family, but has spent the last year in South America.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, he's fluent in Spanish and Portuguese.
That's so cool. That's like my next thing, is I really need to start learning more languages, because I'm super dependent on Alex, my boyfriend.
Yeah.
He speaks German and Spanish, and
Yeah.
like I only speak English. I'm like, I
Wait,
really need to learn another language.
you don't speak German?
No, no.
Oh,
In Germany, it's pretty easy to get away with though, because
okay.
everyone there is super good at English. Like
Okay.
everyone that is like younger, like around my age, they're all like learning English. Like they all speak it pretty fluently. So,
Okay, yeah.
um,
So
pretty easy.
you're off the hook.
Yeah, I'm off the hook, but I wanna feel, part of the culture. Like, I don't wanna always be, like, that entitled person that, like, makes everyone around them speak English. Because like, quite literally, that's what all of Alex's friends have to do when they come hang out with us, is, like,
Oh,
we'll be on, like, a weekend trip with them, or, like, staying at an Airbnb with them, and they'd rather obviously probably speak German, their native language, and then
yeah.
every once in a while, I have to be like, "Wait, guys, like, don't forget to speak
Oh my
English," because
God.
like yeah, I, like, hate being that person.
I've been there. I feel that. I would
Yeah.
recommend Duolingo, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think I honestly need to just take, like, an actual course, because 'cause I've
Yes.
done Duolingo, but I care less about the grammar and writing. I just wanna be able to, like, understand and speak it,
Yeah.
like, kind of conversationally, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Alex can help you find a class.
Yeah, yeah. That's probably, like, the next goal that I have.
Yeah, I love that. So important. So, Sulyn, anything coming up for you that we can promote on the podcast? This episode is scheduled to release on like sometime like early October. So I know it's like
Ooh,
really
okay.
far in advance
That's
here.
far out. I don't plan my life that far out, but I am doing health and fitness coaching still. So there'll
Mhm,
be a link in my bio if you are interested and want to have a conversation with me
mhm,
to just talk about your goals and how I might potentially be able to help you. So now I work for a company called Frequency Fitness. It's me and this other girl, Tara. We have 12 years of experience between the both of us. So we definitely can help you out. We typically, again, we work with women typically in their like 20s and
mhm.
30s. And really, like a lot of the women we work with are career driven. They're in grad school, or they're also like, we actually work with a lot of like beginner fitness coaches as well to help them get their first like experience with a coach. And then also just like, it honestly really helps excel their career too, because they just start to have an understanding of how online coaching works.
Yeah,
So yeah, if you're interested,
cool.
my Instagram is just my name, Sulyn Harvey.
So I will link your Instagram. I will link Frequency Fitness Instagram, and I'll also link your website in the description below. And also, we'll make sure to share across all our socials and stuff.
Amazing. Yay. Thank you.
Yay!
This was so fun.
Yeah, Sulyn, thank you so much for coming on today. This was a really great conversation, and I learned a lot.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
really glad that you did. Yeah, this was
yeah.
way less nerve-wracking than I thought it would be. So, like, I
Oh,
was kind of
good.
nervous, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, but it was super fun.
You got 2 out of 3 questions right, and like
the two you got right were like more like sciencey based. Like history is like not super applicable to,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
more fun rather than
I
like
feel like I feel
required.
like I'm also just always living under a rock. I, like,
Yeah.
never know specific people's names in, like, the fitness industry. People be like, "You don't know, like, Bio Lane on Instagram?" And I'm like, "No." Like, I don't know. I'm just, like, in a different bubble, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, thank you to those of you who have made it to the end of this episode. I'm your host, Lena. Thanks for listening.
And learning.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a 5-star rating or thumbs up, follow or subscribe, and share with a friend. For bonus content, you can find Trivia Tangents on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and of course, all podcast platforms under Trivia Tangents Podcast. Check out our website at triviatangentspodcast.com to purchase trivia starter packs based on these episodes. Perfect for hosting your very own trivia night.